Everybody, Mega Roar Third One back here for FSi DFS. Welcome back to another episode of a FSi DFS Xfinity Pick Show. Going to do this really quick because it's another short window, and luckily it was off today, so we can get a video in. So I'll try to bang this one out and then get in on the truck stuff and get that out. Trucks are at Texas today. It's a standalone race. Xfinity and Cup are at Richmond. Rain canceled practice and qualifying, which is a concern because nobody really knows what they got from the car. They're coming straight off the truck, so I'm sure they'll throw competition caution out there, but a lot of adjustments will probably be made quickly, and hopefully the weather will dry up and they can get this race in. Okay, they do have lights, so could turn into a night race, but we'll see what's going on there. So you'll notice some guys up here that are in dark green. It's a dash for a cash race, so I believe if the top finisher of these four gets $100,000, don't necessarily have to win the race. They have to have the highest finishing position among the four. So it's a nice little bonus there. They qualified based on their finishing positions last week. And then they qualify for the next race that has the dash for the cash going forward. So definitely an added incentive for them. A neat strategy is if you just wanted to, I know like it's not a great DFS strategy, but in a GPP, if you wanted to make combinations of 3 out of the 4 and then add in some other plays, so these guys have the most incentive, being close to the front, potential dominated points. So there's a short track, 250 laps, so there's a good deal of dominator points and fast laps up for grabs. Could be an interesting strategy for those, because the qualifying was canceled. Kyle Weatherman and Dawson Cram did not make the race because they didn't have enough points to get in. Kind of sad because Weatherman, this is a new team here. It's FRS Racing. I tried to figure out what FRS stands for. It could be First Racing Start. That's the initials that they use in the industry. Or it could be because Fern is the guy, Colin Fern. He was the tech director from Brandon Built that no longer is fielding a team now, sadly. But they're pretty successful. So he is going to use part-time the 96 car, maybe Brandon will get into it, we'll see. But it's supposed to be Kyle Weatherman and Max McLaughlin, and the tech is from RCR, so could be kind of exciting to watch this new upstart team with some good pedigree behind it. So, but unfortunately they didn't make the race today. So again, qualifying order, set the racing order here. And you have Justin Allgaier up at the top. And I think between Allgaier and Smith here, I think you've got two really strong cash plays. Sammy Smith hasn't run Richmond, so I just look kind of back at like Phoenix as a similar track to compare. And he ran really well here in 23, just a couple weeks ago. Allgaier, he's been okay at this track, so but I think definitely get out there early. So I think you really want one of these guys if you can get in your lineup to start. Figuring out which one. Really hard to get both in with the other prime plays that you kind of want with the place differential here that should have a good day on the track. So, but if you can make it work, then by all means. There have been some races like this where it's been beneficial to play to the top two. There wasn't a ton of passing, and this is one where you don't want to play guys like super far in the back, I don't believe, just because they can get lapped so easily, and it's just hard to like make it up and make any place differential. So kind of the bargains are around like 25th to 30th, I think, for like the value plays, but we'll talk about that as we get to it. So top two guys like Sam Mayer, I think, is more of a GPP play here. Decent in 22, decent in Phoenix this couple weeks ago, but like 15th overall with like a composite average from these short flat tracks. So but he could be like a dark horse sleeper here. Riley Herbst, a GPP here. He's kind of among like the ones that are fighting for the money, and his average like is about like 14th here. So I have him finishing 6th. So I just like his overall finish at this track is 12th with 1 DNF. So I just don't think, I think he did really well last week, but I don't know how well he's going to do at his road course. on this type of track here. Hemrick, again, not super impressed. 8.5 isn't bad. It's better than the composite for Allgaier and for Mayer, but I still think he's a GPP because like he always just seems like the bridesmaid. He's like he did win the championship at Phoenix, was a comparable track, but I think of a solid day, probably top 10, but I don't know if he's going to be like have the floor I need for or like the upside I want. Really. Sheldon Creed has been doing better recently, but his two Richmond ones, 15th place finish, 22nd overall. Look back at the Truck Series, nothing super special there. So kind of getting a little bit better form, runs better at Phoenix and Richmond. So again, I think he's GPP play. Josh Berry, kind of like him here. Just besides one race, the numbers have been really good for him. 12th overall, I think he finishes in the top 10. I think you can play him in cash, but I really think that he's kind of going to be forgotten, and I really think Chandler Smith is going to be truly forgotten. Like he comes up with the highest score for DK, but I just think with people looking at like Allgaier Smith up top and some of the other prime plays with a little bit more place differential, I think Chandler Smith is going to be a very, very sneaky play, and I'll definitely rotate him into some of my builds, and hopefully he has a good day here. Did like super well at Richmond in 22 with average running position. In Phoenix, his average finish at the track is 5.7. Now, of course, like some of the data is from like his Truck Series runs, but he's been doing well, adjusting up here. He was really boomer bust, and I'm starting to see a little bit more consistency here out of him. So I think he's one of my favorite off the board plays. Brandon Jones, going to be GPP because like just like Chandler Smith, he's like boomer bust. He's had some good races, had some bad races, but his overall finish position at Phoenix is 17.6, and that's a pretty decent sample size. Or not Phoenix, sorry, Richmond. So again, I think he's a top 15 driver. He does have potential to get up there and win the race, but again, like I like playing him in GPPs because I just don't feel he's like solid for cash. John Nemechek has run really well at Richmond and Phoenix in both truck and in Xfinity Series. Definitely a prime play here. Definitely has winning upside. Definitely, he's number one rank in all of my metrics. So I'm locking him in as my first prime play here. Kraus, I think, is starting way too far forward here. He's in a Collie car, which is good, but I mean, he's had some decent runs in truck in Richmond, maybe enough to keep him in the top 15. That's why I didn't put a complete fade on him, because I think there is some like hidden talent here. So, maybe he and Brandon Jones would be a good start to your GPP lines. Clemens and Alfredo, I think they're starting way too far forward here. I know Alfredo's average finish at Richmond's 12th, which is about where he started, but Clements is 22. I respect Clements as a driver. Alfredo is in better form, but he's in BJ McLeod car, which, I mean, maybe it has some Stuart Haas backing, but I'm not too confident in that. Actually, why would it? It's a Chevy. Forget about that. There was times before where like I think like the 99 had some Stuart Haas backing from BJ McLeod, but not here. So anyways, I mean, again, Alfredo, like I was up on him when he first came out. I was down on him when he was in Cup. I was down on him when he was Our Motorsports, and I think his stock is definitely rising, but this BJ McLeod team just kind of scares me. So with like tech issues and stuff. So fade for me starting this far forward. Parker, GPP, I mean, the kid's like amazing for his youth. Jordan Anderson's putting together a pretty decent team here. Looked good at Phoenix in a couple weeks ago, but again, I think there's still like a learning curve. So GPP, I just can't put him in cash. Joe Graff Jr., like, it's too volatile. He's in the better equipment here, so he probably won't get a negative projection. It's probably a little bit too harsh for him. Let's make that like 18.87, but still that's not enough of an X value to really do much. If you look at like his average finishes in these types of racetracks, and maybe it was the equipment, and maybe we will start to see that it was the equipment that was the problem and not the driver, but I think it's more the latter. It was the driver and not the equipment. So again, jury's still out. Not going to be playing him. Jeb Burton, hesitate on this one. It's much better in the Jordan Anderson car than the R car. So 15th overall. So if he finishes where he starts at 6,500, that's a really good price to try to get some of these upper 10K guys in your lineup that you're going to want. So definitely play him in cash. Ryan Sieg, same thing, a little bit more expensive, might not be able to get to him, but he's been solid at Richmond. Austin Hill, I think, is a strong cash play here. It was between him and Custer for the mid-range prime play here, and I just leaned on Custer just because there's more finishing position. And if you look at his actual finishes at Richmond in Xfinity, it's much better than Hill, but Hill's got great form. So either one of them, but Hill by all means is a cash play here. Place differential, definitely can get up into the top 10, potentially lead the race, could even win the race. So definitely not going to count him out. Looked really good at Phoenix. So, we're going to definitely keep him in the player pool here. Mozak, I think, starting way too far forward here again. It's probably going to finish like in the lower 20s. So have him as fade, maybe as a GPP, but not really loving that. Parker Klingerman, like this play also. I think he's solid cash. 84 might be no man's land. It would be like a balance build. You'd be kind of like not trying to get that fourth higher priced car in. You'd probably take like one of the top two guys in the 10K range, Nemechek and Custer, and then like this gives you a little bit more money, so you're not playing like 4 to 5K guys. You might be able to get up to a 6K guy. So definitely in play here. Gralla, just even though he's got a 15th overall average finish at this track, I just feel it's a fade just looking at some of the other metrics, like 26 overall, 27th average composite. So I think he's going to go back a little bit, and 7,100 is just a price point that I just can't work into builds today. But if you can and your last man in for you, then that's fine. Cole Custer, I think, definitely I mentioned prime play here. Can't look at his numbers at Richmond because they're from the Cup series. He's been start off slow. I think he's rounding into form, and I definitely think it had a rough at the road course. That's why he's down here, but I don't think he's a 22nd place car by any means. He's definitely a top 10 car, definitely some place differential here. So look, and definitely has experience, and he's got wins in top 10s here at Richmond in Xfinity. So look for him to make his way forward. Ryan Ellis at 48, I think, is a great cash play. I think will be very popular just at the price point. Alpha Prime Racing's decent. He's actually had decent numbers, just outside the top, just inside the top 20 for a lot of his finishes. 16th, or actually 29th, so 30th overall with a DNF at Richmond specifically. But I think that was not in Xfinity. I think it was more in like Trucker or another series where I pulled that data just to have something. But I feel like at this price point, even if he finishes dead last and loses you a couple points, like it helps you get better guys at the top of your lineup that could be a 20, 30 point differential from some of the other guys you get in your lineup. So even if he loses you 10 points, you're still netting about 20 in your overall lineup. So I'm okay with that. Brett Moffitt, solid play here, but kind of like I said, Kaz Gralla, a little bit expensive. I mean, it's a nice discount on Parker Klingerman. If you look at the two of them, Moffitt hasn't been horrible. Average running position is about where he starts. Finish position a little bit better at Phoenix than he has been at Richmond. But this AM racing car has been solid recently, so I think you can definitely play him in cash. Kyle Sieg is a GPP here. Just really hasn't had the finishes. A little bit concerning for me, so I'm not playing him in cash. Williams gets come back after his beautiful salute. Had him on the cover last week. He's told to park it after a car part of his car fell out because it was too cold for the tape to stick on, and he was accused of littering on the track. So he was black flagged and parked right on the start finish line, gave the crowd the "I love you" and salute, and walked off. And NASCAR didn't have a sense of humor for that one. So now he's back. I think he's a solid driver. Again, he says ups and downs, but here, 24th overall finishing, I think he's definitely in play for cash. Blaine Perkins, same thing in the R Motorsports car, the O2 here. Solid piece of equipment. I think definitely at 6,200 is good. The next stretch here, I think are all like GPP plays. It's either like Honeyman, Alpha Prime's a good car. Honeyman just lacks experience. Hacker, just again, these guys like usually will probably finish where they start. I just don't see a ton of upside here, but I don't think they're a fade. Pool, I think, even though if you look at some of his average running positions, his finishes are decent. And this JD car, I think, it's usually one of them, the 6 of the 4 breaks down. Sometimes it's a lottery, but I think of this type of track, it's not as it's hard on the brakes and stuff being like a shorter track, but I don't think it's and tire wear is going to definitely be something to look at here. I think he'll be okay for a GPP. Golding, the same thing. I think he's in the green light car, the Ford, which again, like, it seems like one of the green light cars always breaks down, and it seems like it's a Ford over the Chevy. So again, I have them as GPP, but I'm not completely counting them out because they have had good finishes here. So, but Alex Labbe, I just really like this. He's a really good driver, 18th overall. I think, my model has him picking up 11 points and finishing in the top 21st, which at 66 is a beautiful price. I think he can almost get up to 5x in value, so definitely somebody I'm going to lock in as my favorite value play down here. Emmerling, these Emmerling Gase cars are okay. He and Earnhardt and Alpha Prime and Joey Gase all I think are pretty much the same play. If I have to rank them, I would have to probably, just looking at track history and everything, I think Emmerling, Gase, and then Earnhardt would be how I'd rank them as GPP. And if you need some of these 5K value guys, I think I like them better than Hacker, Pool, and Golding, just because there's like some more place differential. Even though they might not get place differential, they have less chance to lose place differential. But definitely my favorite plays down here are going to be Parsons and Smithley. Parsons a little bit expensive, and that's the reason why, because he's a much better driver. I know he's got a 35th finish, but I think of this green light car, it's a solid car, and I think definitely he can get up into the top 30. So there's some place differential there. Smithley, the same thing. Potentially up into the top 25. And Mason Magically, the 66 car has just always been like so slow. I mean, if there were other better cars that had like some more points, he wouldn't even made the race. But again, he's with 30, he's guaranteed like 2 points to start out with. So, he can't go negative. But again, I don't think, I think he's going to finish this race like many, many laps down. So I don't think that he's going to be a great play. So again, my strategy is I'm taking Nemechek, I'm taking Kustler. If you want to go Hill, I understand that. And then Labbe. Then I'm taking Allgaier and Smith. If you want to try to get another like Smith in with this build, or Austin Hill in with this build, you can do it with like a Smithley and a Maglio, or like an Emmerling, or like some of these like lower place guys. I think there is enough sorry about that, money left for you, but that's how I'm going. So as always, you can hit me up at Twitter at Megalore31. You can leave some questions in the chat below. I want to try to get this video out, because by the time I do, there's gonna be less than 2 hours before lock. So, and then I'll try to get truck video out, and then I'll do cup tonight. So again, as always, if these videos help you, please like, subscribe to our channel, share with your friends. If I help you, that helps me and helps out FSi DFS. If you want more information on FSi DFS and how you can sign up, because I keep on warning you, there are going to be these weekends where I'm not going to be able to get videos out because I'm going to work or other things. I will be able to put the stuff in my Discord as usual for the people that subscribe. It's super, super cheap. And even if you don't want to do this the whole season, I think it's going to cost you like $10 or something, or $5 for like the week, like $15 for a month. It's like so cheap. So if you get a string of races where it's not going to be able to get the information out in a video form, then you can just pay a couple dollars, come in, and you should be able, with the prime plays and the lineup constructions that we give you and the core plays, to be able to at least make your money back. So I appreciate you watching as always. Stay tuned again for the truck video. Those should be coming out soon. Good luck in your contest. You know how to get a hold of me if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time.